nasty covenants gum. And I'm back with another video. In this video we're going to be talking about a Neewer tripod. This Neewer tripod is basically a Manfrotto knockoff. It didn't cost very much. I have the price right there. I want to go ahead and give you my opinions on it. I've got to use it a few times already, and I have to say I love it. Me, I mostly deal with mirrorless cameras. I don't really use DSLRs, or I don't be making rigs or anything like that. I mostly got this tripod so that I can use them at weddings, and I didn't want to use real cheap tripods at weddings. But one, it doesn't look good, and two, you want to have something sturdy that's not easily knocked over. So it came in a nice carrying case, okay, so which is nice. It's got another little wrap right here. It does do a lot of professional grade stuff. It's a pretty good size. I've also had the pleasure of working with the Manfrotto as well, and those Manfrottos are nice, but this right here is actually smaller than a Manfrotto. A Manfrotto is a little bit more bigger and heavy duty than this, but this really is no slouch. It's pretty heavy duty as well. As you can see right here, the Manfrotto ain't much more bigger than the Neewer, and I'm about 6 feet tall. Manfrotto just had way too much to it. Now don't get me wrong, I'm sure the Manfrottos are great tripods and stuff like that, but really this is no slouch. I mean, it's a really good tripod, and I liked it and I've been happy with it. And of course, like I said, I mostly use mirrorless cameras and stuff like that, so I don't put a whole lot of weight on here, but keeping it from wind knocking it over and stuff like that is really good. Plus I use weights, and speaking of weights, I highly recommend, if you're going to use any weights, be careful about getting sandbags. I know a lot of people say, hey, you should get sandbags, but I ended up buying some sandbags, and tell you, it was a bad idea getting sandbags. For a simple fact that on some light stands, they have little screws down there and stuff like that, and those sandbags get snagged on them, and then you have a problem with leaky sandbags. So I no longer use sandbags. I wasted my money on it. So I end up having these little weights right here, and I took an old belt, you know, and sometimes I'll buy little straps or whatever, and I take these weights and just put it on there, and I put these on my light stands, tripods, or whatever, and it does the job. I've been out on a wedding where it's like really windy. Oh, shit. And they held up pretty nicely. It added enough weight to it to keep it sturdy. Now this, you don't always have to have weight on it, but if it's like really windy, then you probably would put weight on it, but for the most part, you probably don't have to put weight on it. But be on the safe side, honestly, you should use them anyways. You know, just put a little bit of weight on here. But this right here, it's pretty heavy anyways. It's very heavy duty. Some more information about this tripod. It can extend up to 64 inches and also can hold up to 17 pounds or 17.6 pounds, I believe. And the weight of it is about 8 pounds and 6 ounces. So if you're going to be carrying it around, realize that this thing weighs 8.5 pounds. So also, another thing to note is that it's not compatible with any other quick release plate. The quick release plate on it is pretty nice, but like I said, it's not compatible with any other ones. If you have a Manfrotto quick release, it's not going to work with that. If you bought a quick release plate offline, it's not going to work with that either. It also has some features like the Manfrotto, like for instance this knob right here. It's basically a 360 swivel to where you can pretty much swivel your camera or your cage or anything like that. It's pretty handy if you want to get a certain angle with it, and also if y'all balance, it would also help with that. You have a knob right here that will tighten and loosen the pan so that you'll be able to pan it. It's nice and smooth, and it's buttery smooth on a panning if I loosen it up a little bit. But yeah, the painting's real buttery smooth. You also got a knob to where you can loosen and tighten the handle grip and put it wherever you want to put it at. On the other side here, you got a push button so that you can release the quick release plate. You got a knob for the tension for the tilt so that you can loosen and tighten the tilt. Okay, as you can see right here, you can loosen it up, and as you see right there, it has a little bit of a tension, but if you go ahead and loosen up some more there, you'll have less tension. As you can see right there. Well, you might be able to see, and then again, I guess you have to do it yourself to realize that. A con that you have with this tripod, and the same thing is for the Manfrotto as well, is that when you go to try to tighten the quick release plate on there, the cameras are normally in the way. There are a few fixes that will help. One is that you can like turn the camera a little bit and then tighten it. Or you can just scoot the camera back a little bit and then tighten it like that. Another thing that you can do is go ahead and get a quick release plate that you can buy on Amazon pretty cheap. And you can put that on your quick release plate from your tripod, and that should solve your problem. Sorry I didn't do that. Another con that I have for the Manfrotto tripod, if I could say it correctly, is that it is heavy and it takes a while to actually set up. If you're a small person, it might take you a minute to actually set it up, and you're going to really struggle. Because of my camera angle, I may not be setting the tripod up like you should, because when you're setting the tripod up properly, you pretty much set it on the ground and try to raise it that way. But I am doing it basically for the camera angle. And if you try to set your tripod up like I'm doing here, it will take you even longer. And as you can see, I kind of messed up because of the position of those middle support rods. I guess that's what you call it. I'm not sure what they'll call it. If you know what they call, you can tell me down in the description. But as you can see, I had to set it back down and then pull out the other two bottom legs. Once I did that, I went ahead and loosened the top legs, and I was able to fully extend to the maximum height of the tripod. And again, like I said, it was a little bit of a struggle to get that tripod up. I ain't gonna lie, it is a struggle. It is about 13.5 pounds. It's a more sturdier design. It's able to hold a lot more weight, up to 44 pounds. Also, another feature that it has that would really cause me to have a lot of struggle is this right here. Now, don't get me wrong, I can understand this can be an advantage for this tripod, but it's normally a headache for me. I don't really like those things. And that's basically the purpose of it, just so that you can get the tripod on a very low angle. And of course, it will go lower than this. If I go ahead and pull in some of those legs, it'll make the tripod even lower. Another thing about this tripod too is with those middle support, you gotta loosen them and bring them back in and tighten them before you actually put the tripod up. Otherwise, that middle piece will get in the way. So that's all I have to say about the cons on the Manfrotto. As far as the Neewer, as I said before, it's only 8 pounds 6 ounces. So it makes it a little bit more manageable whenever you go to set it up or take it down. And again, the purpose of me extending it like this is because I'm doing it for the camera. Of course, normally I would have the tripod sitting on the ground, and then I'll unsnap it and bring it up, and then unsnap the top parts and bring it up like I'm doing right here. As you can see, I've had a lot less trouble setting this tripod up as I did with the Manfrotto. So like I said before, if you were just putting a mirrorless camera on there, or you're putting a small rig on there, that's not going to be much more than 17 pounds, then you don't really need the Manfrotto. Now I will say the Manfrotto head unit is better than the Neewer. But the Neewer is no slouch either. It got a pretty good head for panning and tilting as well. And both of them are buttery smooth when it comes to panning and tilting. These little clips, I like these work. And of course you've also got the little handle down there to where you can adjust this part right here. So yeah, I have to say so far I'm digging this. Honestly, I think I probably like this better than the Manfrotto. Now, that's not to say if you have like a red camera or something like that, and you're wanting to put red cameras on here and then a huge cage monstrosity. From what I hear, it does a pretty good job on that. But you might want to talk to somebody that does that kind of stuff. I just put DSLRs and mirrorless cameras on here. That's all I normally put on there. And so far, I'm happy with this. Anyways, until next time, peace out and live long and prosper.